These are strange and unusual days. In normal times, I'd be standing before you in my formal evening wear, fancy waistcoat and golden watch chain, hoping that all of you had drunk so much of the contents of the college's cellar that you'd either laugh at every joke I make or sleep in uninterrupted bliss through the entire speech. I'd further hope that those of you who had not lost their refined sensibilities through partaking of spirituous liquors would still have enjoyed their dinner and thus feel charitably disposed towards that old bearded fellow on his hind legs up at the front of the hall. This year is very different. First, I don't know what time of day you are likely to be viewing this video clip. Do I say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening? It's probably best, therefore, if I just say hello. So hello, and welcome to this virtual alumni reunion. Secondly, I'm not dressed in evening finery, but in a suit, at least for the top half. Pajamas serve for the bottom half, as that part of me is out of camera shot. At least, I hope it is. I normally begin my speech to the alumni by calling out in turn each of the matriculation years that are present. We can then tell from the volume and enthusiasm of the cheers that echo back how many of each year are present in the hall, or rather, how much each has enjoyed their dinner and remained alert afterwards. This year we have 7 matriculation years invited to join this virtual reunion, and please cheer in the privacy of your own room if you want to. We're ranging from 1980 through 1985, 1990, 1995, 2000, 2005, and 2010. We miss you all and hope very much that when this wretched pandemic has passed, we can return to normal festivities and invite you all back in person to take part in a proper dinner, rather than invite you as this year to cook your own, albeit following the very clear and precise recipe and instructions from our admirable head chef, Gary Dugan. His recipes and cooking instructions have been placed on the college's website. This has been an odd year in so many ways. I can't boast you at what would have undoubtedly been a stellar year for the college in all sports, whether on the field or in the river. Why was it this year, of all years, when Robinson was destined to triumph at every sport imaginable, that the college's rise to the very top was cut short before the predictions whispered to me by the ghost of Fred Boyne could be proven to be true? And again, the examinations that would normally have seen Robinson shoot to the very top of the league tables didn't take their normal course this year, and only our finalists were classed in tripos. In fact, the college produced some pretty good results in finals this year, but no one could argue that this academic year has ended on a high note, though our students were an enormous credit to the college in coping with an Easter term of teaching and end-of-year examinations conducted entirely online. Our graduate students had their research suspended as their laboratories, their libraries, and the archives were closed, grants sometimes suspended, and money ran short. The aftermath of the last academic year, with no summer employment for our returning undergraduates, and the need for our graduate students to fund extra time at their studies, has created quite significant hardship for some students. Now, I'm delighted to say that our alumni and friends have responded magnificently to our appeal for help, and we've set up a special hardship fund for those of our students who have been particularly affected by the pandemic. We have already raised over £20,000, and that appeal, by the way, is still open should any of you still watching this video clip feel able to give. Details of how to do that are on the website. I said any of you still watching this clip to highlight yet one more difference between this year and previous years. Normally, I would have a captive audience, aside from those with the good sense to manage what our American friends tactfully referred to as a restroom break partway through my speech. This year, you can just switch me off. Of course, there are other ways of shutting down a long-winded speaker, even if there is no off switch in a live event. staring fixedly at the person making the speech, even pointing occasionally, can often cause the speaker to start fumbling with various elements of his or her attire, eventually sitting down smartly in the belief that there's been some embarrassing clothing malfunction. I've termed this technique orator interruptus. Far more drastic was the time when, at one of those stuffy formal dinners that all of us has to endure from time to time, the only real medicine to dull the pain of boredom is the consumption of more and more hard liquor. The speaker droned on for so long that one of the diners could stand it no more. Rising very unsteadily to his feet, for he had consumed a large quantity of the painkiller, he seized the empty decanter, drained of its contents of college port, and staggered up to the top table, and then made to bring the decanter down onto the speaker. So unsteady was he, however, that instead he whacked the head of the unfortunate diner seated next to him, who was heard to cry as he slumped to the floor, "Hit me again! I can still hear him!" Fortunately, you don't need to resort to empty decanters. You can just turn me off. But before you do, please just allow me to say how much I and the fellows miss seeing you all here in Cambridge this year, how much our kitchen brigade miss cooking for you this year, and how much we all look forward to seeing you physically back in college or in London for a proper reunion when that becomes possible. In the meantime, please enjoy this reunion. Take care, keep well, and stay safe.